Welcome to the weightlifting platform, where calluses on your hands are seen as a badge of honor. The weightlifting platform is brought to you by the Panamerican Weightlifting Federation. I'm your host, Richard Mason. On this week's show, one of the next generation of European athletes will talk to one of the top 100 female CrossFitters about her experiences in the world of weightlifting. Also, tip of the week, don't have the latest bar, maybe don't have the perfect platform. Well, we'll hear from an Olympian on how to do more with less. And for our regular feature Good to Know, who you're going to call? Integrity Busters. But first, here are the headlines. It's just a few days to go before the planes are all fueled up and aimed toward Tashkent. And we get word that one of the best teams of all nations won't be participating in this year's Senior Worlds. China has withdrawn all of its athletes. The country is expressing concerns over the coronavirus. Chinese athletes attended the Asian Championships earlier this year in Tashkent and the Olympics in Tokyo, but faced major isolation requirements upon return home to their country. At the end of last week's episode, we asked you to stay tuned for more developments with the upcoming elections. Well, there have been developments. The elections scheduled for the end of Worlds in Tashkent have now been delayed until further notice. It appears that the group responsible for vetting the candidates and subsequently disqualifying some people from running wasn't properly put in charge of that process. So the candidate lists can't be set, which means no voting. The IWF will still use that time to hold a Congress to address issues, likely including putting the group in place to review candidates for a subsequent election at some point. And those are today's headlines. Now, good to know. Did you know that there's a telephone number to call if you know someone is trying to put the fix in on a weightlifting contest? The IOC has an integrity and compliance hotline that can be used to report any breaches of the Olympic Movement Code on the prevention of manipulation of competitions in the Olympic or Youth Olympic Games. That also includes betting, sharing inside information, corrupt conduct, and more. The IOC's integrity and compliance hotline provides confidentiality and anonymity, and it's accessible at any time. Want details? You can find them on the IWF website. And that is good to know. Now it's time to talk. Manon Angonese has spent the last 3 years as one of the top 100 CrossFitters in the world, a journey that has taken her years to get there. But is it a CrossFitter at a crossroads? She now also has an international weightlifting event on her athlete's resume, representing Belgium at the European Championships, placing 10th in the 71 kilo category. Could she be wooed to be a full-time weightlifter? Let's find out. Manon, welcome to the weightlifting platform.
Hi guys, thank you for having me.
Let's start with the question we start with everybody. How did you first find yourself with a 15 or a 20 kilo bar in your hands?
First, it's because I started CrossFit and I always was one of the strongest in the class. I was good at it, and of course, a few years later, I was introduced by a weightlifting coach in France, and then I started. And my first weightlifting competition, I just hated it a lot. I said never again, and 3 years later, I'm here.
Now, were you an athlete in other sports before you discovered CrossFit?
Yes, I was a professional horse rider in jumping.
Did not see that coming. A lot of the athletes we see in weightlifting are gymnasts that have aged out, or in North America, they're football players, or that. I think this may be the first equestrian athlete that I've ever met in the world of weightlifting.
Yes,
Now, What
Yes,
is
I know.
your plan? You've worked very hard to get to the top of the CrossFit world, and now you're starting to dabble a little bit more seriously in the weightlifting world. Are you going to do both? What's your plan?
Um, I will do both for I think 1 year or 2 years again. But I have in my mind since I'm 4 years old to go to the Olympics. So I think I will sacrifice at least 2 years of CrossFit to go to the Olympics as a weightlifter. And then after, I will still have the time to do CrossFit. You can go to the CrossFit Games until you're 65 years old now, but it's not the same in weightlifting.
Now, I think as a CrossFit athlete that you'd benefit with technique improvements once you start doing weightlifting. But is there benefits the other way as well? Is there something that weightlifting that you bring from CrossFit that will help you be a better weightlifter?
Yes, especially in gymnastics, because gymnastics helped me a lot to be a better weightlifter for strength, midline, explosivity. I also work a lot on sprints. So in my off season, I run a lot, but not for long distance, short distance, very fast. And this is what it helped me to be a better weightlifter also.
Now, one thing that CrossFit does far better than weightlifting, in my humble opinion, marketing. They're great at finding ways to bring dollars to the sport. Um, I think we'd like to learn that in weightlifting. Are there other things that you see that in the CrossFit world that you think that the weightlifting world could learn from?
Um, the first thing, it's better in CrossFit than in weightlifting. It's the visibility and the money you have in competition for first. But one better thing weightlifting CrossFit should take from is the doping control. Because in CrossFit, for the moment, it's sad to say, but it's an open door because we don't have a system like AMA. We just have sometimes some control in competition, but it's not that much. So it's not enough.
Tell me about your first meet. You said that after you did it, you didn't want to ever do it again. Tell me about your first weightlifting meet. Where was it? How did you do? And what made you decide after a little while that you might want to do it again?
My very first weightlifting meet was in team in France. Uh, I think I did 77 on the snatch and maybe 95 or 98 on the clean and jerk. I've missed my PR and I was very frustrated because in CrossFit, when you miss a bar, you can repeat it until you do it. But not that time, not in weightlifting competition. I was so frustrated and I said to my coach, okay, it was the first time, but it's the last time also. And the day after, he called me. He said, okay, we need you on the team for next week. Are you in? And I say, okay, I'm in. I have to do it. I have a revenge to take.
Did you have any problem with the referees? Because I'm a referee, and I find that when I watch CrossFit, I don't see referees judging the lifts. I see cheerleaders
So,
and people counting. So you didn't have any problem with the referees in your weightlifting experience yet?
not yet, not yet. The only time they say no lift, I was totally agree with it. But yes, in CrossFit, it's not the same. In CrossFit, you just have to put the barbell overhead, whatever the style, and sometimes it's just awful, but yes, it's CrossFit.
Now, one of the other things I think that CrossFit does better than weightlifting, and I'm from the community, I hopefully can say this. we don't necessarily promote our athletes to the same extent that CrossFit does. There's a couple of, I will call them rock stars in the weightlifting world, where there's probably dozens of rock stars in the CrossFit world. Is that something that you're into in making sure that people know you as a brand?
Yes, I think it's something to develop in weightlifting too. But it's different because in CrossFit is working a lot with brands. So some athletes are sponsored by some brands, so they have to put it yes in the middle of the attention for the brand because they sign some contract and blah blah blah. It's different in weightlifting, but yes, it could be great to put some light on some athletes sometimes. But like you do today, it's amazing for me to have an interview with you because uh, I'm a beginner in the international scene in weightlifting, so it's cool. It's great.
Beginners. Everybody starts someplace, and if we can understand your experience coming into the sport, maybe that helps us grow it with other beginners. We find out, what you stumbled on, and maybe those are things that we can fix. So we should talk to not only the Olympic gold medalists, but also the people who are entering our world and seeing it with new eyes. At least that's what I think.
Hmm.
So it's great to have
Yes,
you here.
yes, it's nice.
Is I noticed you've already got weightlifting merch on with the Belgian flag. Is the couple of years that you're working on? Uh, I know. I'm looking at that. I'm like, well done. Uh, is Paris 2024 the goal here?
Yes, it's the goal, definitely. And I will
Now,
sacrifice everything to go there for sure.
how have you been accepted in the Belgian weightlifting community? Because there's lots of weightlifters who that's what they do. They're just weightlifters. And now you're coming in and going, maybe you're taking a spot from somebody who's been working for 3 or 4 years, but the spot is goes to whoever can lift the most, right? Whoever's got the best shot of the medal. How are you
Mhm.
received in the Belgian weightlifting
Yeah.
community?
Uh, it good, good. It's a very small community because it's a small country, and we are not a lot. I think we have Nina in light class. We have Anna van Wellingen in heavier class. Now you have me in the middle. We have some youngers who are coming really, really. But no, I was received very good. I am someone very friendly and I am pretty good in community, so I didn't feel any tension about me because I came from CrossFit. No, not at all.
Oh, okay, well, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, but you didn't feel any pressure yet. But when we come back, we're going to put you on a 1 minute clock and we're
Okay,
going to ask you all sorts of questions with lots of pressure. So stick with us. We're
okay,
going to do on the clock next. Okay, I joke, but we're going to try and learn a little bit more about you as a person, and we're going to put you on a 60-second clock and we're going to ask you some questions. Most of them are completely irrelevant, but hopefully some we'll have some fun. Manon, the clock is
okay.
going to start in 3, 2, 1. The biggest contribution to the food world from Belgium, is it beer, chocolate, or French fries?
Chocolate,
If you had to live without one, beer, chocolate, or French fries, which would you live without?
beer.
If you had, did you have a childhood nickname?
No.
Okay, favorite workout song?
Hard question. A song from Boris Brejcha, Techno.
Okay. Is there a movie that you can watch over and over and over again?
Gladiator.
Perfect. Do you have a celebrity crush?
Ethan Hawke.
Okay. And on vacation, would you rather hike or lay on a beach?
Montaigne.
Hiking in the mountains. Perfect.
Sorry.
Manon, we very much appreciate you
Yes.
taking the time to talk with us. Hopefully, we can learn from you, and hopefully, you enjoy your time here in the weightlifting community.
Yes, thank you so much. That was fun.
Thank you. Now it's time for our tip of the week. I know weightlifters that could talk to you for hours about the best thumb tape. But what if you don't have the best thumb tape? What if you don't have the best weights? What if you don't have the best platform? What if you don't have the best situation? Do you give up? Well, in this week's tip of the week, Jean-Baptiste Yanou Kechenke of Cameroon tells us how to train even when the conditions aren't ideal.
Hello guys from the weightlifting platform of Panamerica. Je m'appelle Jean-Baptiste Yannick Echanké, haltérophile international camerounais, plusieurs fois champion d'Afrique et vice-champion des Jeux du Commonwealth. Donc aujourd'hui, je vais donner un petit conseil à la jeunesse qui est de travailler. Travailler surtout, ne pas tenir compte des infrastructures parce que c'est le plus difficile dans notre sport, c'est l'infrastructure et l'haltérophilie, on sait que c'est un sport où on a vraiment besoin de matériel. Mais c'est pour vous dire qu'on peut être dans un endroit où il n'y a pas de matériel, mais réussir à s'en sortir. Donc avoir juste de la régularité dans l'entraînement et de la consistance, tout en restant fixé sur son objectif. Donc voilà, c'est tout ce que je peux dire aujourd'hui et surtout, pour un débutant, se concentrer sur tous les mouvements techniques. Allez, bonne soirée.
Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of the Weightlifting Platform, brought to you by the Pan American Weightlifting Federation. If you like what you see here, please bookmark us on YouTube. You could also like the IWF on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, IWFNET. I'm your host, Richard Mason. Good lifting.